Hello, welcome to Simon's Trading Channel. Thank you for joining me for another one of my videos. Happy Tuesday to you all. I hope you're well, feeling prosperous, and everything is going smashingly. Let's get straight on with the price action analysis. Okay, so here we are. The mighty Bitcoin, a slightly confusing chart, but it'll become clearer as we move along. I'm going to start on lower time frames and work my merry way up. And you can see straight away the momentum on the 4 hour is to the downside and has been for quite some time now. Basically, ever since momentum started to expand, as you can see with the Bollinger Bands, to the downside from this area of 86K. And it will remain to the downside probably for a little while. However, very nice bounce coming on this 4 hour time frame following just one run of bullish divergence, comparing this low with this lower low, but on the RSI, this low with this higher low. So regular bearish divergence on the 4 hour time chart. That's also likely playing out on the daily as well. Now, what does that mean? Well, not a great deal. As you can see, there's still very much a downtrend on these lower time frames. There's lower lows and lower highs, generally speaking. But bounce could go, I would dare to say, up to sort of 87, which would just be the top of the Bollinger Band, depending on the rapidity of the bounce. What's probably more likely, though, is an area where around it is now. So around this kind of price action, probably up to about 85, something like that, in and around there. Maybe even retest this consolidation section of price action here around sort of 86. But I don't see it going much higher than that at the moment on this bounce. So it's a decent bounce. You can see this 4 hour candle has only 11 minutes left to go. So it looks like it will close above the midpoint of the Bollinger Band. And well, that's it is what it is. But what it means is less downside price action for the meantime. Okay, move on to the daily. And on the daily here, you can see that same bounce. And you can, it's not, the bullish divergence isn't so obvious on the daily. There is a slightly lower low here, which was today's wick low at 76.5, and indeed a higher high on the RSI compared to this wick low on the RSI. So, bounce definitely could play out on that bullish divergence as well. And I would say on the daily time frame, anything up to about 88, which is midpoint of the Bollinger Band, and also a support resistance area would be fair game. Much back above there, and then you'd be looking at this more as a reversal rather than a bounce. So we'll see what happens. From a point of view of momentum, on the daily, it's still to the downside. Taking a bit of a breath at the moment, but I still have, from a point of view of momentum and formation, setup, trend, whatever you want to call it, still have a bit of a downside bias in the short term. And I would not be surprised if Bitcoin revisits this swing high and this swing high, which are basically coming in for daily closures, probably around that somewhere between 73 and 75. So it's got quite close there already. And maybe the bottom is in, but with the momentum on the lower time frame still being very much to the downside, I do wonder if there'll be another stab a little bit lower, maybe even to the low 70s. But we'll see where this bounce finishes and then come back to it. Now, I'm now going to get rid of all of this, in fact, and just make a quick observation to you using my bull bear market trading strategy that I use to keep me on the right side of the moves. And just to reiterate what I've shown in the past, this is the index, right? So the full history on perpetual exchanges for Bitcoin going all the way back to the dinosaur period, to crustacean, pardon me, maybe the Jurassic era. Not quite that far, but 2010. Jurassic in terms of Bitcoin, but not in terms of anything other than that. Now, so you can see how this strategy basically defines really well bull markets and bear markets. And the only slight fly in the ointment. That was the COVID Black Swan event. But if you take that out of the picture, this would have been blue. This whole area would have been a bull run, and it would have picked off the bull and bear markets perfectly. But no one's perfect, right? And so why should you expect your indicators to be perfect? Well, you probably shouldn't. That's probably unreasonable. So I'll stop being unreasonable and get on with price action analysis. The reason I brought this up was that, as you can see, so far in the bull run, every time price action has got close to this um, support resistance line, it's been a really good buying opportunity or longing opportunity because the trend is still to the upside. And as long as this is blue and doesn't turn red, then that to me means that the bull run is still on, and therefore I would personally still be looking for longs. You can see how close the wick down on this weekly time frame this week, in fact, yesterday, in fact, got to the bull bear line, I'm going to call it, and it's now lining up very much with weekly closures for this consolidation 6-month terrible period that we managed to survive barely got out of there with our lives. But anyway, I wouldn't be surprised if it edges its way up a little bit further this week and maybe next week, and maybe this from the price action. But I'd be looking for price to react to that and potentially set up the next upside move. So yeah, very much excited for a bit more downside price action so I can make the most of the next upside move. That fits in quite well. I've shown you this chart before with my sort of shorter term long short signals, and you can see that I got out of my long positions and indeed sold my Bitcoin back over here because of the short signal on this. This is a daily time frame, so it's kind of more short period trading rather than investing, although I'm kind of an investor more than a trader these days. I certainly wouldn't be shorting when my bull bear market is still in a bull, right? So I'm looking for my next long entry, which will come when this flicks blue. So much like it did over here. That was the last long entry. So yeah, looking forward to that. Who knows when it's going to be? No one, because can't predict the future. But looking good for another setup for a long entry. I don't know, maybe in the next week or two. Looking at the price action at the moment, if I switch back to my asset assessment tools, the price action at the moment is trending to the downside for sure on the daily time frame and the 4-hour, most of the lower time frames. But at some point, it's going to get quite well overcooked or overdone to the downside, and that's when I'd be thinking probably the downside's over, and then let's see what happens. Now, why did I bring that up? Well, just from a timing point of view, I think it's fairly unlikely that this just goes, I don't know, spends a few days here and then goes ding straight up to new all-time highs. Probably more likely to spend a bit of time getting back into more like the $100,000 range and then spending a bit of time there, maybe consolidate up against resistance around that sort of 105 to 108 region and then a breakout. So I think that could take some time. It'll just annoy everyone, not frustrate people. And then when you're least expecting it, there'll be a massive bullish, hopefully, move to the upside. And those of us who are left in the game will celebrate with plenty of squash and tangerines. Anyway, I think that's enough for today. I hope you've enjoyed the price action analysis. If so, please like and subscribe. And join me next time for some almighty Bitcoin. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon. Goodbye.